It's Wednesday, October 20th here at the West End Gun Club. Took the day off from work, come out to the range, shoot a little rimfire. Didn't bring out my Voodoo today. I actually brought out my CZ455, just wanted to shoot that a little bit more, and I brought out my 1022, which I haven't brought out to the range in quite some time. It's an old rifle that I've had for a while, but I want to shoot some rounds through it. I did clean it recently. I did a really good cleaning on it. I let it soak for 24 hours because I plugged the bore and I filled it with Vortec rimfire blend, just kind of clean it out. And so I'm going to run some rounds through it, see how well it still shoots, and I'm going to decide whether or not I'm just going to transplant that rifle into another chassis or another stock, the KRG Bravo, or if I'm just going to build up another 1022, because I've been pondering building a kid, but I just don't know if I want to spend the money on that because I want to buy other things. So I'll just bring this out, shoot some different ammo through it that I've got, and see how it's doing today. It is breezier than I thought it would be. It's about 5-mile-an-hour wind. The weather report didn't say it was going to be windy today, so hopefully it stays like this and starts to die down. And that's that. I was putting on this belt earlier, so this is a new belt I acquired. It is the Blue Alpha. I think it's just called Blue Alpha. I don't think it's Blue Alpha gear, it's just Blue Alpha. But this is their two-piece belt system. Basically, you have an inner belt with a hook and loop on the side, or hook on the outer side, and then you have the second outer belt, which has you have loop on the outer side, loop on the inner belt, and hook on the outer belt, and then that velcros on to the inner belt that you've got, so that kind of stays secure. I got the Molly version, and so I'm kind of playing around with this. I set up some Molly pouches. I got my Armageddon Gear AICS pouches on this side on Molly. I've got a couple of just random pouches, well, random, but I have a Kestrel pouch here, and then this is a rangefinder pouch, which is a little bit bigger than my rangefinder, but this is all I got, and I don't have any other pouches that I could use right now, so I kind of want to get a feel for this and how the weight's going to be. I do have this just sort of admin pouch on the back side, which is essentially, I can put my mic here, which is handy, instead of putting in my back pocket. Molly, it's a Molly belt, and as opposed to just belt loops, because the reason why I don't do belt loops is that the belt loop will go on the outer belt, but then it'll interfere with the inner belt, so you won't have as much Velcro contact. So the Molly keeps all the pouches on the outside, gives you maximum contact between the outer and the inner belts. The only problem with the Molly when I was hooking this all up is just a pain. It is a pain to get it all on. You can't even use like regular Alice clips or Molly clips. You have to use just fabric type clips. And I got some Maxpedition clips to put on there. They're like fabric, they're like Alice clips or Molly clips, not plastic, but fabric. And so it's easier to put on. And so they actually work pretty well. That's how this is hooked up. And since it's a pain in the butt, I was going to use this for kind of just NRL 22. And then use it for handgun shooting and rifle shooting, like AR-15 with my taco pouches. The problem is, since it's such a pain in the butt to install the pouches, I'm probably going to get a second outer belt, which is going to be expensive, right? Because this thing I think runs for $150 as it's set up, with just the two belts, the inner and the outer. I'm going to see if I can get another outer belt without having to pay for the inner belt, and that might be the way to go. So you can have two belts set up for different things. But I may try it next time I'm out here shooting some pistol. I'm going to try to go ahead and just yank these off and put on my taco pouches and see how long it takes to do it. Like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And is it worth the trouble to constantly do that every time? We'll see. Time versus money and convenience. I'll have to weigh that next time I'm out shooting pistol. Anyway, I'm going to just have this on. Even though I didn't bring my Voodoo, I do have my AICS style mag pouches on here just to get a feel for it. But I'm going to go ahead and unload some of my ammo, and I've got my lab radar set up. And if you notice, I didn't bring real good bags. I don't have a front rest, because in my wisdom, I completely forgot that this 1022 doesn't have a bipod. It's like a bench rest style stock, so the front end is flat with no sling studs pick rail or anything. So you shoot off a bag, and I did bring a couple of bags. I'm gonna try to figure out how to shoot like that, but we'll make it work. I just kind of want to get a feel for how this gun is gonna shoot before I decide what I'm gonna do with it as far as stocks and starting replacing parts. But let's unload some ammo, mags, and let's get shooting. With the unexpected breeze, it is unexpectedly colder this morning than I expected. It's about 50 degrees out here according to the Kestrel, which isn't much to most people out there, or many people out there, but again, Southern California, we just went from 90-degree weather to 50 degrees inside 4 weeks, so not used to that. Anyway, I've got a mix of SK long range match. I do have some CCI standard velocities, which I actually don't shoot, but a lot of people do like. I only got a brick of that stuff in my cabinet still because it was out of some testing I was doing a couple of years ago. I got this flat nose match, SK flat nose match, and SK standard. So see if I can load up this SK standard. I've actually haven't had much luck with SK standard recently. I don't know if my CZ just doesn't like it. That's the one gun I was shooting it in, and my Voodoo doesn't really care for it, at least this lot. Let me get this ammo can on the ground here. So, try to position myself with this lab radar, and whoa, that was a party foul. As you can see, like I said, I don't really have a great bag here. I forgot to bring I have this bag that I got that's designed for front rest. So I'm just using a fortune cookie here. I'm going to try to get this set up on target here. Now, I haven't shot this gun in a while, or brought this out to the range in quite some time, so just a little backstory on this. I think I bought this back in 2001, I would say. Back in 2001, it was just your standard sub $200 1022, the base model. I think at the time they might have just called it, what would they have called it back then? I don't know. It's just a 1022. And I ended up putting a bull barrel on it, changed out for the Hogue overmold stock. Your standard first time 1022 owner, swapping a bunch of parts. And I had fun with it, and whenever I do bring it out, I continue to have some decent fun with it. I eventually, sorry, I'm just trying to focus this Weaver T36. So I had a Volquartsen 16-inch tension barrel. I think they called it a THM barrel, a tension barrel. It had a wrap on it. I think it was carbon fiber wrap. And I said, you know what, I want to try the 20-inch stainless. 20-inch or 18.5? 20-inch stainless. So I thought, a longer barrel might be better. That THM barrel shot really well, and I should have kept that because I don't think I ever got this to shoot as well as the THM. So that was kind of a regret there. I'm using the Volquartsen barrel-mounted scope mount, which the mount actually goes onto the barrel as opposed to the receiver. And then I have this Weaver T36, which is a fixed 36 power scope. It's a 1-inch tube, 50 mil objective or 40 mil objective. 1/8 MOA clicks. It's pretty good. It's really good. They don't make any more. It's got a fine crosshair. I think at the time it was only $500. It's still pretty sought after. If you sell it used, a lot of people want it. But I like this. I keep it around. It's nice for just sighting and rifles. It's got adjustable objective. I think it goes down to as low as 10 yards, I think. 10 or 15 yards. So it's got its uses. Obviously, it's not for field or tactical use or PRS or whatever you want to throw it in other than bench rest, simply because 36 power, you don't have any field of view, and 1/8 MOA, not really good for adjusting on the clock, and plus it's got closed turrets, so it's not really good. Anyway. Other than that, the trigger is it's just a stock trigger with a Volquartsen trigger kit. I think I replaced a couple of things there. It actually brakes pretty well. It's got a slight take up, and then there's a pretty solid wall with no creep as far as I'm concerned. And it brakes, and it's not, I think it's about 2.5, 3 pounds. I mean, it's pretty good for not spinning on a kid trigger. I mean, but make no doubt about it, getting a kid trigger is light years ahead of a Volquartsen trigger kit. Taking a trigger kit, replacing the hammer, I think. I can't remember what else you replaced. You're replacing just a couple parts on a stock trigger, which makes it better than stock, but you'll want to get a kit. If you've ever shot a kid trigger, you'll be wishing you had it on all your 1022s. Anyway, let's go ahead and load up some rounds here, and we'll get some chrono data as well. Shot a really bad group. I would say about an inch and a quarter. It's a very clean barrel though, very clean. So we'll go ahead and shoot a couple more mags. And where's that one I checked? Shoot a couple more mags, and we'll see how it goes. This mag doesn't want to drop. That's interesting. Huh. Sticky mag. So just for the record, that first 10 rounds on Series 2 here is an average of 998, so just under 1,000 feet per second. Really bad standard deviation though, 24.6, extreme spread of 73. It's a better string. I opened it up after the first 7 shots. I threw a couple high. That one shrunk down quite a bit. Still about an inch though. That last series as well, shot a little better, but still standard deviation of 21.9. Average is still 998, which is looks pretty consistent as far as the average. Standard deviation is still 20. So standard plus. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and switch ammo. Not really feeling the standard plus. Huh. I want to know why my mag doesn't want to drop. If anybody has any ideas why my mag's not dropping, let me know. So that was the first string with the long range match out of this 1022, which I've never shot this out of the 1022. It's actually much better than standard plus. We're looking at average of 1055, not 1070 like I said, but the standard deviation is 11.5, which is much better than 20 plus. You kind of want to have it under 10 if you could, but being a semi-auto, you'll get what you can take. Or take what you can get, rather. Just an FYI, Series 6, CCI standard, or sorry, CCI standard velocity, 1080 average, standard deviation of 11.8, which is pretty good. And that was just a cleaner mag too. This was an intermediate string, first 10 rounds after an ammo change. So we'll see if the next 10 are any better. That was worse than the first. Stream spread 14.7, 1073 average. Take a look at these groups. They aren't that great. They look bad in the from behind the scope. They look better in person, but not that much better. So first string of the day, this is Standard Plus, SK Standard Plus. You can see the accuracy potential here. I mean, it's just up and down stringing. Shooter, mainly the shooter. Then I switched to SK Long Range Match. You can see the accuracy potential here. Then it opened up again on the next string. I don't know there. I would say that's about less. That's an inch. This is about an inch. It's not a very good inch though. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just don't like the way it looks. I mean, it could be better. This looks bad, but that first string was good. This looks good. Then we switched to CCI standard velocity, and it was looking okay. I think the standard deviations are pretty good, just above 10. But this went wild, and I shot another string after I tightened up the action screw. I re-torqued it, but it's got this windage, and that could be the wind today, but it's got this left to right. Long range match might be the way to go. Both these are pushing around 1070. This is at 1,000, just under 1,000 feet per second. Maybe if I don't know, maybe I should just go ahead and get the KRG Bravo stock, and because if I build another 1022, I'm going to go with the KRG Bravo stock anyway, so maybe I should get that stock, throw that gun into it, run a bipod, shoot it a little bit more, or better yet, I need to get a real bench rest, because I've never bought a real front rest, ever. In my years of shooting, I never owned a rest. But if you've looked into bench rests, those things are expensive. I mean, you can spend upwards of $1,500 to $2,000 for a good front rest. So I don't know. 1022 velocities are about where I think they were going to be. Well, a little bit slower. Accuracy not as I thought it would shoot a little bit tighter. But then again, I haven't shot my 1020 forever. We'll see. I have some stuff to think about. Also, you know, if I decide to use this for more NRL22 stuff, I'll need a scope. But yeah, I'll go ahead and bust out the CZ. I kind of want to re-verify the zero on that, and I can leave that target out there. Bust up the CZ, run some numbers on that and the velocities. And I'll do some admin stuff too. I need to take care of a few things in the contents container before we leave the range today. CZ 455 with SK long range match. First group, second group, third group. It started to open up a little bit here. I don't know what was going on today. And I tried CCI standard velocity. It's not very good at all. This looks pretty good. It's around 1073 feet per second. This is really nice up until this shot here. That was the last shot. This is a very nice, nice group here. I threw that 10th round. But yeah, it's a 5-shot group. I don't know what this is. 5, 10, I don't know. Anyway, not bad. SK long range match. Had to make an adjustment here. Came down a little bit on the zero stop. But not bad for the CZ 455. So I'll probably be shooting SK long range match at least for the next several months until the summer hits, and then we'll probably switch to rifle match. That's a nice group. I didn't realize until now that my microphone was actually underneath my sweatshirt, so hopefully I can salvage the audio for this vlog. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to hear me at all, what I was saying earlier. Anyway, I pretty much pulled in my targets. I only brought in I only had a paper target out there and one steel at 100. And about to pack up this stuff into the Jeep. CZ shoots fine. My 1022, although I don't know, could use some work. I'm not sure if I want to invest money in this gun or not. Maybe I'll get this. Maybe I should get the stock, put it in a new stock. Try to tune it a little bit more. Shoot it in better rest, like a better rest setup situation, so I can actually eliminate factors and make sure I'm testing true accuracy. But maybe an inch at 50 yards, which isn't all that great, to be honest. You need to shoot better than that at 50 yards with the 22, especially for NRL 22, considering how small the targets can get. We'll see. Not much else to say for today. The belt feels pretty good, although I don't have much weight on it. I'm already liking it, and I know I have my rangefinder here, Kestrel, and then an AS1 Voodoo mag in here, and then my field recorder, which hooks up to my lav mic on my backside. So I can anticipate this will be easy to use during matches or whatever, or on the range. It's just easy to put on and take off. So I don't know. I may, like I said earlier, I may get a second belt just to have two setups, one for like pistol and carbine use, AR-15 use, and one for like precision rifle use. As far as the labradar, worked well today. Sometimes it gets finicky with rimfire, but I have the microphone attachment, which makes it easier to use with something like a suppressed rifle, or in this case, 22 or air rifle. A lot of people ask, I see it often, which chronograph should I get? Opticals, they work fine. In terms of accuracy, they work. You're always going to be beholden to your lighting conditions, though, and that's why I switched away from an optical chronograph. Back on my old range, where the sun came up from the front side, we were sort of facing east and would go over in the mornings. Lighting conditions, I was able to use a chronograph. At this range, when you shoot on the main line, the sun comes from behind, and it's going over a mountain first. So, and not to mention the overhead cover. So you're not getting any sunlight later until maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, depending what part of the year it is. Excuse me. So that you're in the shadow, a lot of shade from the canyon and the overhead cover. And depending on your chronograph, your optical chronograph, how good it is, it won't work. It's not going to pick up anything. And I've seen people sometimes early in the morning, because a lot of the early morning shooters, that's the best time to shoot when there's no wind. They'll sit in their chronograph and they're wondering why their chronograph's not picking up anything. It's lighting conditions. I mean, the older 35P usually can work, but I've seen guys with 35Ps come out here and it doesn't work in the morning because it's just too dark, not enough contrast. The bullet goes over the sensors and there's just nothing for the sensors to detect off of, because there's just no light. That's why I switched to the labradar. My shooting chrono worked great in my old range. It was fine. And it was accurate because we compared it to other chronographs. Another guy at the ranch had an older 35P, which used to be the standard for chronographs, consumer-based chronographs. We ran them one after another, and they detected within maybe like 5 or 6 feet per second difference. But anyway, what should you get? Definitely go magnetospeed or labradar. Now the question is which one. If you're going to shoot any handgun whatsoever, you should just go labradar. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you're going to shoot only rifle, you can go magnetospeed. My only thing with the magnetospeed is you don't want to attach it to the barrel, right? That's how it works. you're gonna have to get a setup that allows you to use either a pick rail or a pick rail or arca rail, so that you can hook up the bayonet, the magnetospeed bayonet, to the chassis or the stock, and therefore you don't get that barrel harmonics issue, and you can actually shoot, test groups, and get chronograph data all at the same time. That's my only thing with the magnetospeed. But I love the magnetospeed in terms of you can attach it to your gun, pick it up, and it's still stuck on there, and you set back down, and it's still there, and you're good to go. Like when I shot F-class matches at Camp Pendleton, I would just hook it up, get on the line, shoot, get off the line. You don't have to set up like a lab radar, because you got to set up the lab radar, make sure it's adjusted every time, because you're picking up your gear when you're leaving the line for the next relay. So it's hard to do that, assuming you want to get chronograph data while you're shooting a match. There's a lot of unique use cases for magnetospeed over a lab radar, and the other way around. There's a lot of unique use cases for a lab radar over a magnetospeed. But if you want to do it, get both. That's what I did. I got the lab radar, but I got the V3, magnetospeed V3, because I wanted to try it out, and I kept it. I mean, it's a great system. And it's sometimes I would argue it's easier to set up for rimfire than it is the lab radar. Magnetospeed hooks up the bayonet, set the sensitivity up pretty high, and you should be good to go. Lab radar, and it's all about whether or not the sensor can pick up the gunshot. But yeah, either way, I mean, this is obviously great for handgun use, because you really can't put a magnetospeed on a handgun. So that's just my opinion. If you're going to shoot all types of guns, go lab radar. If you're going to shoot rifle only, go magnetospeed. It's half the price. Anyway, that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and pack up. Reminder, our NRL 22 match is this Sunday. So this is Wednesday, this upcoming Sunday, fourth Sunday in the month. SoCalNRL22.org. I have that website set up, and it's got links, FAQs, info, all that stuff, so you understand where you're going to register, etc., and like what equipment you need. We already have quite a few shooters registered, so it should be a good match. Weather should be pretty cool. It should be in the 70s, and I hope there's no wind. And it should be a good time. So definitely come out if you're interested. And if you need a loaner gun, this is ready to go, my CZ455, so I can have this ready if you let me know in advance that you're going to show up and you need to borrow a gun because you don't have a gun suitable for NRL 22. Then maybe we can work that out. And then just cover the cost of the ammo, of course. Anyway, that's it for today. Wednesday, October 20th. Yes, 20th. Here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next vlog.